and I'm here today with Kellen Martin Falk. Kellen is a 15-year-old sophomore from Liberty High School. I'm here with Kellen because I believe we are somewhat different. And to find if that's not entirely true, I'm with him today. So Kellen, tell me about yourself.
Well, I think personally, me as myself and my entire life, I think is pretty eventful in a way, in multiple ways actually. But basically, a majority of my life, I don't know, I was pretty outgoing. I was a pretty outgoing kid.
We talked before and you talked about how it was very chaotic and such.
Recently, in the recent years, since like 8th grade, well, the first big thing was in 6th grade, and I won't really get into detail with that.
That's completely fine.
But that was just the whole thing, and then that was what kind of, not really like matured, but it was just like a step in the direction to like the real world, I guess, because that's when me and my parents actually started having like, that was like the first like big problem between me and my parents.
Okay.
And I kind of, I don't know.
It became more chaotic.
Mm-hmm. But the next, really the next big thing that happened was like 8th grade, whole like, you know, suicidal thoughts.
Yeah.
Like idealization, self-harm, stuff like that. 8th grade, and also my brother did that. And I don't know, that was kind of just like I felt like if I never went through that situation, I would not be the person I am right now. Yeah. Because that completely changed the trajectory of like my way of thinking and my way of going to things and stuff, like attempting things. And I think that because before that, I was kind of a little bit of a jerk. Okay. I was not a great person.
Well, you were a kid.
Yeah, I didn't really have like a regard for anyone's feelings, and I think after this that whole situation in 8th grade, I think that kind of brought me and my friends closer together, me and my family, and also just me with myself. Mm-hmm. But that kind of happened, and then went to high school, and high school was a huge change, a huge like opening for me, opened me up to so much stuff. Because
in a good way?
In
both ways. Both ways. Okay.
More good than bad, but there have also been bad. Okay. But the main thing that started out like high school that really helped me was Connor, because you know Connor, he's your friend, he's a senior. So I was a freshman, he was a senior, and he introduced me to like you and all of his friends, and also all of his friends who are juniors and now seniors. And I've grown close with a lot of those people, and I feel like that helped me kind of find myself as a person, to see like other people's way of thinking.
And a different perspective. Like, we're older than you, we've experienced more. You, though, you've done a lot for a very young age. Mm-hmm. Like you said, in 8th grade. Yeah. When I was in 8th grade, I was on Xbox, and I was just sitting in my room while you were experiencing stuff that I'm probably experiencing now.
Yeah, it was, I don't know, it was a lot to kind of handle as like an 8th grader. Yeah. But also, I'm really glad that it happened, because it helped me change my ways and stuff. Okay. And I feel now, I don't know, at this current moment, I feel like there's so much going on, and I don't really know what any of it is. Okay. But ever since like the start of this year, there's been scares with a bunch of stuff, and I don't want to go into detail. That's okay. But there's just been like really emotional shit from the start of school. And from freshman year to like the summer going into sophomore, I was doing like actually really well, and I was working on myself as a person and like making new friends. And then once this year started, it was just kind of all like a backslide
Yeah.
After that there's this event that happened, like, not too long into school, and that just kind of
set it off.
Set everything, all the progress I made back.
Okay.
And now I'm just working on making that progress again.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know. Recently, it's just been like, I don't really understand myself at all. And there has been times, a lot of times recently, where there's just like an overwhelming confusion and also hatred about myself. And it's like, I feel like something good can come from this, but it's already taking a lot of work to just kind of
start off.
Take it, yeah. So I don't know how it would be to try and fix it. And I feel like with me, that's a very big problem where I know things are wrong, I know things I do are wrong, and I want to fix it, but I don't want to make the effort to fix it, and I don't know why. But I talked to my therapist about it.
Yeah.
We've been talking about that stuff recently. And the way she put it, let me just say, she's great. I love her. But the way she put it was that mainly for my mental health, I don't want to try and like fix anything. I don't want to try and like fix anything or take breaks, like go to mental hospitals or just take breaks from friends, is because that like feeling of like depression was just scary. And I don't know. She kind of put it that way. I didn't really know how to put it into words myself.
Yeah. I think a problem with mental institutions is that they take you away from people. That's not its point. You're supposed to learn, and like the whole thing is like relationships with people, and yet you're supposed to grow from that, and yet they believe that taking you away from that cause or that like situation is going to cause anything or like cause a solution or find a solution in that.
It's like alienating.
Exactly. When you shouldn't be alienated at all.
Yeah, because for me personally, I value my social life and like going out with my friends way more than anything else, way more than like my mental health or anything.
Yeah.
Like I can be horrible, down in the dumps, like absolutely just like suicidal, destructive, self-destructive. Yeah. And then I will, at any moment that I'm offered, go out with my friends, and like there's been times where I've just been completely, like not broken, but like completely worn out mentally, and I've still seeked out to go hang out with my friends because that's like one, if not the only thing that really brings me, like makes me feel
at ease.
Like, yeah, it brings me comfort being with them. Like I just like having company.
Yeah.
And I like doing things and with them and stuff. And even if we don't do anything, just sitting in a room, just not even talking on our phones or anything, that just makes me feel 10 times better right there.
The content of just being with somebody.
Yeah, like quality time, spending quality time is something I enjoy and something that helps me. And I feel like I've been relying too much on that in these recent times, because when one of my friends went on vacation, him and my other friend are the only two people I really ever hang out with like every day. Yeah. And one of my friends was in Costa Rica and the other was in upstate New York.
So you had no outlet, basically.
I had no outlet, and I just felt like, and I don't know why, but just thinking about my one friend being away for a week and a half or something, and he lives right next to me, so that's why I always hang out with him, and that's why I got really emotional, because it's like, what am I going to do? There's no one that I can really hang out with, so I'm just going to be kind of alone with myself. And I feel like, well, I don't feel like, I know I need to work on that I need to work on being okay with being alone. Yeah. And that's a big problem, and being okay with being bored. Because if you're not okay with being bored, and it's not just me, it's just everyone, then that can lead to like risky actions.
Because you're not satisfied.
Yeah, it's just always like a you're seeking it out and thing. And I don't know, it's just like right now as a person, I feel like overall confused, but also I feel like I've been getting better because I've kind of, instead of thinking very like black and white,
yeah,
I've just been kind of like gray, looking at everything.
Yeah.
And mainly I've just been indifferent to most things, which isn't always good, but I feel like it's helping me at the moment.
I feel like the gray part, that's where I would say I actually agree with that. Seeing things in black and white is completely, it's not right, I would say, because you don't, everything is logical, everything has a reasoning. Though life, I believe life is very sporadic, but things have reasonings for what happened. Like everything has like a chain of events that led to something. Like you have a chain of events that created yourself. So there is logic to how you are, and you must find reasoning and content, I think. That's how I've learned it. It's just finding content in pain and knowing that you actually are okay. That's where you find true happiness, I guess.
Yeah. And I don't know, but I feel this past week, like this past recent week, I've felt like I have been making progress on myself, actually.
Okay.
Because it's been a short time, but it's progress nonetheless. And I don't know, I feel like kind of, if I'm making a little bit of progress, with anything, I'm given an inch, I take a mile.
Yeah.
So I think might as well do that for progress as well, right? I might just tough through it, dug it out, make noticeable progress and good progress so that I myself can feel comfortable with myself. Because like I mentioned before, the whole self-hatred thing, that's been going on for like 2 months and it has been like overwhelming. But recently I've just felt like I'm my own person. Yeah. I'm just kind of here. I'm doing what I'm doing. I don't know, it's just kind of...
Just screw it.
I'm just going with the flow.
Yeah.
Whatever happens, happens. I'll take it and find something to do with it.
Something with me, I've found pushing, like, because I always try to better myself personally. Yeah. But sometimes it gets to the point that I speed it up. Or I think, why, I already know the issues, so why is it taking me this long? While really, if you speed it up, it's just going to get worse. Yeah. It becomes toxic, it gets in your head. You have to work with your own instinctive body, which I found is really the point that you need to, that's when you, of course, can finally grow.
Yeah, because if you work too much, you'll burn yourself out. So the amount of effort that you put into working, you also need to take that amount of effort and put it into relaxing. Yeah. You have to give yourself breaks to understand things. Yeah. Because if you're dead set on fixing yourself, then yeah, it becomes toxic and you set like a standard for yourself. And if you don't meet that standard, then everything just restarts. And it's just like, that's at least for me. So I think it's just kind of let things happen, have goals, but don't really make them like my entire life. Don't devote my entire life and my entire time to meeting that goal. Yeah. But still take time to pursue it.
And recently with me, I've learned that there's so much time ahead, and you're way younger than me. Yeah. It's just like, oh well, like it's such, you think about it, these 2 months connected to your whole lifespan is so short, and then it's like, okay, oh well, and then you use that pain to grow, right? Pain is growth, failure is growth. Everything negative becomes a positive at some point after. It is just your goal to control it and to not let it get to you, and then you can finally use that as like your own will power. All right, well, thank you so much, Kellen. This is good.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, viewers, as well, for being here with me and Kellen. Adios.